Good morning. It is such a beautiful morning. But then for me, I guess every morning's a beautiful morning. I'm sitting in the circle and watching grandfather's sun come up, just enjoying this wonderful, wonderful feeling this morning. It's cool here in Okiedom. I think it was like 62 when I got up, which for some, that's not really cool. It is for me. But 50s are good too. We're still in some warm times. We've got supposed to have some 90s this week. I don't know. I love fall. I've always loved fall. Fall has always been my favorite time of the year. I'm not a big fan of heat, so the summer's never been something that I look forward to. I'm more of a fire and sweatpants kind of girl, I guess. I can walk through the woods and over the ridges and the huge rocks and down into the holler, and I don't have to watch my steps so much. The snakes are usually somewhere not being active, and I love that. In the summertime, you've got to be careful. So this time of year, in August and September, I guess, is when the copperheads have their babies. And so you have to be extra careful. And especially if you have a lot of leaf litter, because they hide so well and blend in with that leaf litter. You know, there is a couple of documentaries out. If you haven't seen them, they're Flash of Beauty, Bigfoot Revealed, and Flash of Beauty Paranormal Bigfoot. And then on the YouTube channel, you can watch both of those free on YouTube. And then they've got all kinds of interviews that you can watch on the Flash of Beauty YouTube channel too. And I also do a podcast a couple of times a month. Michael Harrell and I do that. It's actually, you can watch it live in the Pork and Beans show group, or you can catch it on YouTube on Michael Harrell's channel. You know, so much is going on in our world right now. So many energies, so many things being brought up. And sometimes it gets a little hard to navigate a day. And if you're on any kind of social media, for sure you're going to be influenced by all kinds of things. And social media is not a bad thing. It gives us a way to stay connected with people that we want to be connected to. It gives us a way to talk with each other and share things that are going on in our lives, or things we need to share about our experiences. So it becomes what you make it. And one of the easiest things in the world to do is to scroll on by. Don't get caught up in the drama. And there's so many things right now that can create drama. And I'm not even going to go into what those are. I think everybody knows. But we have to take a responsibility for what we're feeding ourselves. What are we feeding ourselves? You know, and that's not just about food. That's about everything. What are we putting in our mind? You know, that's one thing with the Bigfoot people. People who are trying to understand or find out more about them. You go to social media of various kinds, and you read everything you can. And sometimes those things are scary. And so you don't know what these Bigfoot people are. And in my experience of knowing them for almost 70 years, I've never had a bad experience, ever. There's a little story that I share that is something that actually happens, and it helps you to see that what you have in your mind about them can very well create the kind of encounter or experience you have with them. I was at a camp out down in the Comanche Mountains with several people. There was a young man there I had talked to during the day. He was asking me questions, and so I asked him, I said, what do you think they are? And he said, I don't know. I don't know. I'm afraid, you know, that they could hurt you or kill you or whatever, because I don't know for sure, you know, what they are. Well, he had spent a lot of time on YouTube looking at all the scary stuff that happens. And so in his own mind, before all of that, he wasn't sure who they were or what they would do to him. So one evening, about midnight, we were all sitting around the fire, and as I do, I get up, I walk off into the woods or down the road or whatever, and he saw me, and he said, hey, Miss Arla, can I walk with you? And I said, sure, come on. So we're walking down this little one-lane road, and we hear heavy bipedal footsteps coming towards us. And they get closer and closer and closer until they stop right inside the tree line, which is pines, you know, some oaks and other trees and cedars. And so sometimes you can't even see into the woods. But we stopped. It had stopped, and so we stopped, and we were standing there, and he grabbed me by the arm, and he said, are you afraid? And I said, no, I'm not afraid. And he grabbed me with his other hand, and I said, are you afraid? And he said, yes, I don't know what it's going to do to me. And so I tried to talk with him and to help him get through that, but it wasn't working. So I just said, well, let's go back to the camp. So you have the same experience happening and two people see it totally different. He had already said during the day that he was afraid. He didn't know what they were. He didn't know if they would hurt him or not. And so that created his experience. Mine was, I'm walking down the road, I hear heavy bipedal footsteps, walk up, it stops just inside the tree line. And that's what I felt. You know, and I totally understand people being afraid because they don't know. They don't know what they are. And they put so much into watching the scary aspects of things people have happen, that if you break those experiences down, you see that they're not all that scary. And that comes about by misunderstanding their nature. I tell people all the time, yes, they're big, they're hairy, and they are loud. A lot of you, I'm sure, have been in the woods a lot. They didn't come and carry you off somewhere. They didn't physically hurt you. You know, I hear people say too, you know, I ran and got in my tent. Well, if the Bigfoot people's intent is to hurt you, that little tent sure not going to help you. Or people say, I ran in my RV and locked the door, or I ran in my house and locked the door. You know, I can assure you that if they wanted in, they could get in, but they don't. Now, will they knock on your house or run their hand down your tent or whatever? Yes, they will. And that happens a lot. And more and more and more now, I see it happening. Which for me is really cool because it's a beginning of connection for people. I'm almost through with getting everything together to be able to talk to you about the light codes activation transmission video that I have up. I want to make sure that I'm going to be able to help those understand what this is and why was this done now. You know, this video, it's not looking up in the sky. It was about 18 yards from me and began at about 2 foot off the ground. This wasn't something that was going on in the sky. It was going on here. It's a wondrous thing for me. And I'll be sharing it more and more and more because it's important. It can help people. It can help humanity. It's such a simple thing. It's a simple thing of them, the star people and the ancient Sasquatch people, and so many others who are so caring of this Earth Mother and of us, and to help us to see who we really are. That's an amazing thing, to be able to understand who we really are. And for me, that's just pretty cool. I hope your Saturday is awesome. I know mine will be. I'm still working on my book, getting things together. We're targeting releasing the first of the year. Thank you all for watching this, and those that have subscribed to my channel. It took me long enough to get back to it after so many years. But I'm loving being able to have another way to share what goes on in my life and the things that are important to me. And, you know, as I tell everybody, wherever I spoke, at any conference I've spoke at, you know, you don't have to believe anything I say. I'm sharing my experiences. I'm not trying to prove anything. But I would ask that you don't just throw it out. Don't just disregard what I've said. File it away somewhere. And if at some time you have something happen, or maybe somebody that you know and trust has something happen, then you've got a reference. You've got something to go back to and say, hey, I heard this. This is what she said. And it's so important that we don't just throw out things that we don't think can be. And that's about anything in our life and what we experience. I'm sending you all so much love today and so many blessing smiles. Enjoy yourself. It's a beautiful day.